Dear friends, welcome to this week's virtual drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read Parshas Beshalach. And in this parsha, we read the beautiful Shira, Az Yashir, the beautiful song led by Moshe Rabbeinu, sung by Klal Yisrael after we successfully made it through the Yam Suf, the Red Sea. We saw the water come crashing down on our Egyptian tormentors, cementing our emancipation, effectively ending 210 years of barbaric servitude. And that Shira is so beautiful. It's beautiful not only because of the composition, not only because of the words, but because it expresses a tremendous sense of emunah, of belief, in confidence, in hope in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because the Shira essentially says that we believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has our back. He had our back, He will have our back. And when we are confident in God, by extension, we are able to become confident in ourselves. When I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has my back, then I can believe in myself to accomplish anything and everything. And what's interesting to note is the Mefarshim are very drawn by the opening phrase of this Shira. Az Yashir Moshe Ovnei Yisrael as Ashira Azos. Now, literally translated means Az. Az means then. Then. Az Yashir. Then Moshe Rabbeinu will sing future tense. So Moshe Rabbeinu and Klal Yisrael will sing this Shira. Now the obvious shaila, the obvious question is, it should have just said Az Shar. Then Moshe Rabbeinu sung. In other words, it's present tense or present past. After these events, Moshe Rabbeinu sung this beautiful Shira. Why does it say Az Yashir? Then Moshe Rabbeinu will sing future tense. And Chazal, the rabbis, give many different interpretations, many different answers. Most notably among them, Rashi HaKadosh says that this is actually a scriptural allusion to Tchias HaMesim. Mikan remez l'Tchias HaMesim min HaTorah. From here we see a scriptural allusion to the resurrection of the dead. There are many things that are going to happen in the Messianic era. And one of the most incredible and dramatic things that is going to happen is the dead will come back to life. How that works, who it applies to, what stage. You come back when you're 20, you come back when you're 80. How does it work? So that in Meretz Hashem Halabai we will see. And the Torah generally doesn't speak that much in general about Mashiach and about future events or resurrection events, simply because Cheshbon Baruch Hu wants us to focus on maximizing the present. But Every once in a while, there are scriptural allusions that are peppered in different places. So here Rashi HaKadosh understands that Moshe Rabbeinu sung, he sung by the banks of the Yam Suf, and Az Yashir Moshe Rabbeinu will sing again. Our ancestors who left Egypt will sing again. And when is that? Tchias HaMesim. Mashiach, redemption, resurrection, and Halavai we should be Zochei Meretz Hashem to experience that in Hira B'Yameinu. But I want to share with you what I think is a little bit of a different insight as well. There is an incredible letter that was written by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Livracha. The letter was written actually in Shvat of 1956, Tafshin Tes Zayin. So again, a number of years ago, 1956. Now, what's interesting is this is a letter from Igros Kodesh. So in the letter, we don't see the petitioner's letter. Like in other words, someone wrote a letter to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but based on his response, we could reconstruct a little bit of what the letter must have been. And I want to share it with you because I think it's absolutely overwhelmingly incredible. So the Rebbe says like this, Shalom Bracha. I'm going to read it to you, just not the whole thing, just parts of it. Shalom Aleichem. B'maneh al michtavo michodesh Kislev u'chodesh HaGeula. So the Rebbe again is, this letter came in Kislev, and he's answering it in Shvat. A little bit affirming. Sometimes it takes time for rabbis to return calls, and it takes time for rabbis to return emails, and it takes time to return letters. Okay, so he got the letter in Kislev, and he's writing back now in Shvat. He says, Bo kosev matzavo ata. So he says, you, the person who wrote me the letter, you described to me your difficult life, and that v'chein asher kol meshach yimei chayav lo ra'atov. Ultimately, you write in your letter that for your whole life, you never saw anything good. And this man was writing to the Rebbe, and he writes to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he says, my whole life has been incredibly difficult. I am not, all the days of my life, the man says, the petitioner says, I never saw anything good. And therefore he says, Rebbe, I want you to daven for me, for my wife, and for my children. So the Rebbe says, and then the Rebbe says something amazing. Ukinira, she'ino margish ba'astira b'michtava atzmo. The Rebbe is writing back. He says, dear petitioner, Heilig Yid, holy Jew, it is clear to me that you don't even see the contradiction in your own letter. Ki ish asher bore olam hizmilo as ben gilo bercham b'yiladim shlita. Because you're a man. The Rebbe is writing to the unnamed individual in the letter. You're a man. You have a wife. You have children. Yomar shelo ra'a tov niyamav. Can you say you don't have any good in your life? You never saw anything good? Hareyu kafui tova b'mida mafhila. Now the Rebbe here uses very strong words. He's speaking to this guy. He says, you are a kafei tov. You're an ingrate. You're an ingrate of the highest order. Now this is shocking. Where you're an ingrate of the highest order. Ubevadai lo yigu chas Hashem dvarim elo berchas Hashem mispar sheshvi lahem adata. So the Rebbe goes. He says, how can you say you have nothing? V'harei meos va'alofim mibnei adam spalim b'chol yom v'yom l'spar pribatan. How many people go ahead and daven day in and day out, first of all, to find the spouse? And then after they find the spouse, how many people daven day in and day out to go ahead and have children? V'hu asher kibel bracha zu. And someone who has received not one of these brachos, but both of these brachos. Kinira meblit fili yisrael. And it doesn't appear, the Rebbe writes to the petitioner, doesn't appear that she had to daven all that hard for it. And it doesn't appear that she had to work all that hard for it. Eno makir ba'osher va'osher asher ba'zeh v'kof michtavo kamar le'el. Do you not recognize the incredible bracha you have? See what the Rebbe is saying? This guy is saying, I've never had any bracha in my life. Please daven for me, for myself, for my wife, and for my children. The Rebbe says, Gevalt, you have a wife, you have children, and you say you never had bracha? Do you know how many people daven a whole life and never find their bashert? Do you know how many people find their bashert and daven a whole life for one child and you have children? The Rebbe says, unfortunately, and I say this with love, you are an ingrate of the highest order. You're an overwhelming ingrate. He says, move on. He says, she'in kavana silomar, she'aparnasa tzricha lios etzimdum. Now, it's clear from the letter that what the man was probably referring to was that he's just had a difficult time with parnasa his entire life. He's had a difficult time with livelihood. So Rebbe says, I'm not minimizing parnasa. Parnasa is important. And I'm not minimizing the fact that most people aren't happy with just getting by. Avabasi la'orer. But it is important for me to convey, asher efsha zeh tam lechalishos habrios ha'eder harvacha beparnasa, kevan she'enenu makir klal b'berchas Hashem yisbarach. This is wild. Maybe the reason you're struggling with parnasa is because you don't appreciate the brachos you do have. Maybe the reason you're struggling in this one area of life is because you are failing to appreciate the other incredible things that the Ribono Shel Olam has given you. Because what you have, many could argue, is even more important than parnasa. A marriage, children, a home, a family. The Rebbe says maybe the problem with your parnasa is your failure to recognize the greatness, the bounty, the beauty that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given you in every other area. You have the greatest bracha. V'bracha bebanim ubanos haholchim b'derech Hashem. You have children, and they're healthy, and they follow in the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What else can you want? Ukishein makirim betov hanira v'anigla hanasa milamala. The Rebbe says, because when a person fails to recognize the beautiful good that has been given to them from above, ubefrat kasher iha karihi ba'ofen mafil kolkach, and specifically, when not only do you fail to realize it, but in fact you're an ingrate. He keeps saying it, and you have no appreciation for what it is that you have. Until you could write in a letter to me, to the Rebbe, until you could write that you have nothing, that nothing has gone right in your life. Then how can you be surprised if Hashem doesn't shower bracha upon you in other areas of life? If you can't appreciate the blessings you have, and you feel that just because you don't have everything, therefore you have nothing, and you're unfortunately an ingrate of the highest order, not my words, the Rebbe's words, then how can you be surprised if HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to keep showering more and more bracha upon you? And look what he writes. Tikvasi shesheshurasi ilam otos bekamos tisapekna laha'ir inav liros esamatzav kimoshu. The Rebbe says, my hope is that the few lines that I have written will help to open your eyes, to illuminate your eyes to the true reality of your life. That you have so much. That you have so much bracha. Ukishi yaschil la'avodas Hashem yisparach Mitoch simcha amitis upenimis. And when you begin to serve God and begin to ask for your parnasa, from a state of thank you for everything I do have, thank you for everything I do possess, thank you for all the beautiful brachos I do have, then bevadai titosef brachas Hashem yisparach gam v'nageh lebrias parnasa. When you begin to thank, when you begin to ask from HaKadosh Baruch Hu for more, but you come from a vantage point, not that I have nothing, I have so much. But the same God that has given me so much, yes, I'm asking for more. Thank you for the brachas I have. But please keep giving me more and more and more. At the end of the day, the Rebbe says that hopefully, under those circumstances, your brachos, or your tfilos, your petitions, will be answered. An overwhelming letter from the Rebbe. Again, I'm not versed enough in the letters of the Rebbe to know whether or not this sharpness came about. And a lot of the letters was unique over here, but I was very taken. Because when we think about the Lubavitch Rebbe, we think about, again, like the paradigm of kindness, of love, which is what he was. But yet here, there was something about this man's letter, something about saying, I have nothing, nothing's ever gone right. And the Rebbe says, what are you talking about? But I think what the Rebbe understood is that what this man was describing is so often the pitfall of the human condition. All of us have pieces of our life that are in disrepair, that are not good, are not going the way that I wanted. And human nature, someone once told me a statement, you're only as happy as your least happy child. That's crazy. And that can't be true. Every parent is distressed when their child is unhappy. But what does that mean? So if my child is unhappy, therefore I'm unhappy, and everything else around me disappears in oblivion, all the other bracha, you can't live life that way. Human nature often is when something is broken, if something is in a state of disrepair, everything's broken. If something's not good, everything's not good. And when you live life that way, the Rebbe says, I'm a kafui tova, I'm an ingrate of the highest order. All of us have things which are in a state of disrepair. All of us have things that are not good, but I can never allow the things that are broken to obscure and to eclipse the things that are beautiful and that incredible, because the way for a yid to petition God's Chosh Baruch Hu, thank you for everything and I want more. Thank you for everything and I need more. Not, look at me, I have nothing because I don't have everything. Chas v'shalom. That's not the way we operate. That's not the way we conduct ourselves. The Lubavitch Rebbe teaches us such an incredible yesod. Daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the things that you're missing. Petition HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the things that you're missing. Beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the things that you're missing. But not from a perspective that if I don't have everything, I have nothing. No, I have so much. I have so much. I would like more. I have so much, but I need more. All of us have things which are missing in life. We all have things that are broken in life. But don't allow the missing to define the whole. Don't allow the broken to paint the panoramic picture of my life. There are things that are missing. There are things that are broken. But there is still so much that is good. And I must learn to be a balanced individual. That's what the Rebbe, that's the Musar that the Rebbe was given to this person, to this Jew who clearly was broken, but yet he was so broken, and he defined himself by his brokenkeit that he didn't even see all of the beautiful brachas. And perhaps that's the pshat in Az Yashir. Az Yashir means then we will sing. You see, it is easy to sing when you cross the Yam Suf. And it's easy to sing when you see the waters come down on your tormentors. And it is easy to sing when you see gold and silver and precious stones washing up on the shores, right? All of the bounty of Egypt is now yours. That's an easy time to sing. But there's a powerful quality that our people has. Az Yashir, then we will sing. When? All the time. You don't just sing. You don't just sing Shira to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You don't just say thank you. You don't just have an appreciative smile on your face when everything is in order. But in any given moment in life, Az Yashir, then we will sing. When's the then? The then is now. The then is an hour from now. The then is when everything is as I wanted in life, and the then is when everything is in a state of disrepair. The power of a Jew is the ability to sing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in any given moment, because in any given moment, there are things that are good. In any given moment, there are things that are going right. In any given moment, there are things that are beautiful, that are intact, that are whole. And despite the fact that there may be a cacophony of disrepaired items in my life, a whole bunch of things that are misfiring, I can't allow those things to determine the totality of my life, of my nature, of my personality, my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Az Yashir, then we will sing. We sing by a Yam Suf, and we sing in difficulties, and we sing in simchas, and we sing in tzaras, because in any given moment, there is what for us to give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for. You know, this became so apparent this week. It was incredible to see. We Baruch Hashem with incredible siyata d'shmaya and the bravery and holiness and dedication of our precious soldiers. Gvili was brought home. Gvili was brought home. And if you listen to parts of Levaya, overwhelming. A man, you know, the slogan that was used was Rishon Latzeit va'acharon lachzar. The first one to go out. He died defending his community. First one to go out and the last one to come home. First one to go out and the last one to come home. And you know what was incredible? There was almost like, dare I say, like a certain level of simcha, like joy. And you think about it, like I took a step back and it's just like joy. He was murdered. He was murdered on October 7th. And his body was held by our captives for 2.5 years. So bringing him home to bury him, I don't know, simcha. But we felt it, right? There was a simcha. And on one hand, you feel weird, like, is this a cause to rejoice? And the answer is yes. The answer is actually yes. Because Az Yashir, a Yid knows how to sing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in every single situation. Whether it's by Yam Suf or because, yes, of the simcha that parents have the ability to bring their precious son to Kvuras Yisrael. That's something to sing about also. We don't just sing when things are good. We don't just sing when things are happy. We don't just sing when things are all falling into place. A Yid sings at all times. Because in any given moment, there's always something to be thankful for. Whether it's the bounty of the Red Sea and the total like annihilation of the Egyptian army, or whether it's the bringing home of Gvili, whether it's the birth of a child, or whether it's finding some ray of light in the midst of a loss of a loved one. Whatever it is, Az Yashir. We are not like that person who asked the Rebbe that question. That's not us. That guy was probably just having a really dark day when he wrote that question. But the Rebbe set him straight. The Rebbe sets us straight. In any given moment of brokenness, there is so much to be thankful for. In any given moment of darkness, there is still so much light. In any given moment where I feel overwhelmed by the disrepair and the dysfunction, there is so much Baruch Hashem to be thankful for. Az Yashir. Az Yashir Moshe v'nei Yisrael. Then, at some point in the future, Moshe will teach Klal Yisrael to sing. When is that moment in the future? It's now. It's in an hour from now. It's in a day from now. It's in a year from now. Because the time to sing and the time to give thanks, the time for Shira, for the beautiful brachos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us, is every day, every moment. We should be Zochei Meretz Hashem to sing the Shira with Moshe Rabbeinu on that great day, that day of Mashiach, that day of Tchias HaMesim, that day of resurrection. But until that day, let us find the koach of Az Yashir Moshe v'nei Yisrael. Let us find the koach to sing a beautiful song of thanksgiving to HaKadosh Baruch Hu each and every moment. Wishing everyone a good Erev Shabbos and a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.